Okay, y'all, welcome to Skate to the Point, episode 16. This is Unfiltered Ice Chat. Today we're going to go over my 4-continent predictions. We're also going to go over some skating news over the past few weeks, such as Gracie and Nam being a couple, and also Hubble and Papadakis dancing as a same-sex couple in Zurich. There is so much more to talk about. I'm also going to go over some same-sex couples who I think would be really good pairings, and I want to hear from you as well. So let's get right on into it. I almost screamed, you guys, when I saw this story come out on Valentine's Day. People online were calling this a hard launch. We have a new couple alert. Gracie Gold of the U.S. and Nam Nguyen from Canada. Both, I don't know if Gracie's technically retired, but Nam is retired. Are now a new couple, and they hard launched on Valentine's Day. I think this is just such an amazing story. They look so darn cute together. Apparently there were reports of them staying together in a hotel room at Nationals, which would make sense if they're together. If you don't recall, Gracie wrote quite a bit about dating an ice dancer named James Hernandez from Britain in her book, Out of Shape, Worthless Loser. So a lot of people were kind of surprised because she said such great things about James in her book. And, a lot of relationships just end and, we don't know why or anything like that. But the way she talked about James, it seems like it was a positive experience. And I hope even though they broke up that, they both look back on it and don't have any regrets. But I am so here for Gracie and Nam to take over. I just think this pairing really, really makes sense for a couple of reasons. First of all, they both really struggled in skating and kind of had a tumultuous love-hate relationship with it. I have read online that Nam is actually now a coach, just like Gracie is, but Nam coaches for hockey. And apparently, he's a really great skater, obviously. But I just find that really interesting. They can really bond over being coaches and, having that tumultuous relationship with skating. I think this will really bind them together. And I love this couple. I think it's beautiful. Gracie talked about in her book how, John Coughlin, which, is a sad story, and we'll never maybe really know if the allegations against him are true. But Gracie talked about how that was kind of not the love of her life, she didn't call it that, but how he was someone she could have seen herself having kids with and being with long term. And I just think the energy between her and Nam, it's giving off the same vibes. It's giving off like deep, deep friendship, which is obviously possibly romantic love. And I'm just so happy to see this. I love to see it. What do you guys think? Okay, next up, we're going to go ahead and get into my 4 continents predictions. 4 continents is coming up this week. Please note, you guys, my predictions are also kind of like my hopes. So don't get it wrong that I think this is definitely going to happen or anything, but this is just what I'm hoping happens, kind of based on the trajectory of each of these teams' seasons. So in first place, no surprise, heavy favorites, Chalk and Bates, as long as they go out and do what they can do, barring any major mistakes. Chalk and Bates won their first world championship title with Chalk falling in the free dance. Not on a move, it was just a random fluke fall. But so I don't think it subtracted too many points. But I think as long as they do everything that they can, and barring any major mistakes, they should definitely take home the 4 continents title here. Chalk and Bates have won this competition 3 times previously. I don't believe they competed last year, so they're not the reigning champions. That will be Gillis and Poirier. Speaking of, I believe Gillis and Poirier should comfortably get the silver medal here. They are such a strong team. I really like their material this year. I like the different costumes they're doing in the rhythm dance. I think it keeps it fresh. It keeps it interesting. And I really like their free dance. I know a lot of people have said it lacks a little bit of a point of view, but I just think it's really beautiful. It gives me kind of a vampire prince and princess type of vibe. And I just think that they are such a beautiful team, and I'm so glad they're continuing to skate. Now, my bronze medal prediction, you guys, this is just what I hope to happen and I think would be the most fair, but it's either going to be Lajoie and Lagha or Carrera and Ponomarenko. Probably Carrera and Ponomarenko, but I think Lajoie and Lagha have better material. I think they are just such a beautiful team to watch. They have some different moves and lifts that are just truly beautiful, and I don't know, the sound of silence, their free dance, I absolutely love. So I'm calling it, I'm manifesting La Joie and Lagha for the bronze medal. Oh boy, you guys, Cheon Kim's stock from Korea has certainly risen. She won the Asian Winter Games, beating Kaori Sakamoto, the three-time world champion, and getting around 219 points. So I would think Cheon is possibly a heavy favorite for the gold medal here. I'm just, materializing that Monet Chiba holds off Cheon just this once and re-wins her title because Monet has truly played the second place fiddle almost all season long. And, she almost won the Grand Prix final, was very, very close within a point or so. And so I think that Monet really, really deserves it here. However, Cheon truly has the upward trajectory. So it's going to be a battle to see who can come out on top and who kind of keeps it together. The jumps and the spins and every point is really going to count, as it always does, but especially as we get closer to Worlds, this is kind of the last chance to make a splash and keep the judges, keep yourself in the judges' minds at the forefront. So really exciting to see, but I'm going to just kind of hypothesize that Monet will still be able to hold off Cheon for this competition. In third place, I have Wakaba Higuchi, consistency queen, making a beautiful comeback this season. It's been a joy, a pleasure, an absolute delight to see her back on the scene, looking better than ever. And, she has really great programs as well. I really love her free program, giving me that just kind of elusive, very kind of mysterious vibe. And I just think that Wakaba is going to do a great job here. I think she'll hold off Alyssa Liu and Sarah Everhart from making the podium, just because she does tend to get a little bit stronger tech elements, especially versus Alyssa, who has had an amazing season as well. As they say, the ice is slippery, but I do kind of think that Miura and Kihara will regain the title this year and take it back from Stellato, Dudek, and Deschamps, who won last year. I think Stellato, Dudek, and Deschamps have just kind of struggled to find their footing this season. I think missing the Grand Prix final was also, it was just due to illness. It was no fault of their own. But I think that just kind of hampered their season a tiny bit. And I think they're really going to be coming out the gate really strong and just roaring for a good finish. But I don't want to put the pressure of trying to re-win the title again on them. So I think that they'll get second place here. I think they'll have a strong showing. And then my third place finish, you guys, this is a total, just flash in the pan, hope, dream, please, all the prayers and everything up. I'd love to see Shin and Naj get bronze here. What an epic rise to the near top this would be for them. Naj got 7th place with Chelsea Liu last year at Four Continents. And think about it, a year later, he has a new partner. They did so well at Nationals. They've gotten really nice scores. I think this would just be lovely if they could capitalize on their success at US Nationals and get third. But again, Cam and O'Shea are going to be looking to defend their bronze medal from last season. And also, Efimova and Mitrofanov are definitely going to be wanting to get onto the podium, especially as U.S. national championships. So I think the fight for the bronze and even 4th place is the most interesting here in the pairs event. Okay, let's get into the men. I think I read recently that Junhwan Cha got his 8th Korean national title this season, which is absolutely crazy. He has been at the top of Korean men's skating for so long, and he has had an up and down career. He's had some injury, but overall his just quality of skating is so breathtaking. He combines perfectly artistry with sport, and I just think that it would be great for him to win here. He just came off of winning the Asian Winter Games, where he beat the silver medalist from the Olympics, Yuma Kageyama. So he's been having a wonderful season, and, I think the trajectory is with him. I think he's got the momentum. He just needs to go out and have the same type of skate he got at Asian Winter Games, and this title will all but be his own. In second place, we have Tatsuya Suboi with Japan. It's almost unbelievable that Shiun Sato and Sota Yamamoto will not be here to defend their second and fourth place finishes, respectively. Both of them having not a good nationals, and so not even being invited here to Four Continents is kind of mind-boggling. But I do think that Tatsuya can get really good scores, high enough to definitely podium here, and I expect him to take second or third place. And in third place, I'm projecting a Mikhail Shaidarov medal from Kazakhstan. I've been loving seeing his slow rise this season. He's getting better and better, and even though his skates can be a little inconsistent, he is struggling a little bit with his quad lutzes and some of the bigger jumps that he does do. I saw that he tried, I think it was a triple axel Euler quadruple Salchow combination at Asian Winter Games, and it didn't go so well for him. So really hoping that he can turn it around here. We won't have Andrew Torgashev, we won't have Yuma Kagiyama here, and some other skaters that would possibly knock him off the podium. So I do hope that Mikhail can save it and turn it around here. Okay, this next story is so exciting to me. I really think it breathes a level of fresh air into figure skating, which has suffered in popularity in recent years, especially in Western countries, especially in the US as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Olympic medalist Madison Hubbell and Olympic gold medalist Gabriela Papadakis have decided to skate together at shows, and they started this month in Zurich. I'm going to put some in the background here. So recently, Skate Canada or Patinage Canada was the first country to allow same-sex partnerships perform on the ice at their national events. I think this is a beautiful move for figure skating. For years, I have wondered, what would certain women skaters or men skaters look like skating together, I was reading that when Hubbell and Papadakis were still skating competitively, because they trained together at IAM in Montreal, they once decided, hey, let's just kind of mess around and skate together on the ice. And afterwards, they were like, whoa, when we finish skating competitively, we should really try to skate together. There's some magic here and beauty. And as you can see on the screen here, it's absolutely gorgeous to watch them together. They are going to do a lift later in the program, and it's not a real strong lift. Hubbell is really the base for that lift. So there are a lot of questions that would result from male and male skaters or women and women skaters if we were to allow that internationally, or if the ISU were to allow that. For example, would we have separate competitions? So it would be male skaters skating only against male, or women versus women, or would we allow them to participate in the men and women events? How would that all work, Now, we can't, disavow that there are certain benefits to having a genetic male and woman skate together, especially because the male is almost always the one pulling the weight for the lifts. I think that's where a lot of and look here. So we're going to see Madison holding that lift, holding Gabriela. Now, there would probably be even more considerations to size and ratio and strength, things like that when pairing up together if we were to allow women, and male skaters. Personally, I think this is the direction that we're heading in the sport. I think that it's inevitable that it'll eventually be allowed. I also think we should have solo dance events. I just think that there are certain places that I believe do allow that. So I think that ISU should too. It would only open up the sport, create more opportunities. But the one, kind of setback I could see is that events would become even longer, since we do have 2 events in each discipline, the short and the long programs. So there's so many details to consider, but what a fun prospect. What do you guys think about this? Up next, I'm going to go over some pairs that I would love to see skate together if this were to go through. Okay, y'all, disclaimer here, this is just for fun, so please don't anyone get upset. I'm not saying these teams should break up. It's more so just hypotheticals and kind of fun to think about. So let's say we were talking about male and male skaters together. So let's take Gage Brown, for example. I feel like he has a lot of strength and speed, so I think he would be a great person to dance with. Who are some people that we could pair him with? So I think they could be Let's start with someone like Ian Somerville. I feel like Ian and Gage have very similar like capabilities. They're both really strong and fast across the ice. Like how wonderful and cool would it be to see them together? I also feel like either one could do the lift. So I feel like they could switch off, which would be so interesting. And I think they're both light enough where they could carry each other. So this would be just like such an amazing pair to see. I am all for it. Or how about Lucas Bridgky and Gage Brown? I feel like this could also be a pairing that works. Again, similar heights, very strong. I think Lucas could possibly be more of the base in this partnership, and Gage could do more of the upper, be lifted in the air. But I just think this would be kind of a fun pair to see as well. You don't like this? How about Lucas Bridgky and Nikolai Memela? I think this partnership could really work. I saw great chemistry in them at Europeans, and I don't know. I think that Nikolai is so tall, so he would be the base in this partnership. And I feel like he'd have the strength to lift up Lucas. And Lucas is not too tall, so I think this could really work. What do you guys think? Okay, let's go over some female-female partnership ideas. Let's start with Allison Reed of Reed and Ambrulivicius. I think Allison has a lot of strength and would be a good base in a partnership. So let's pair her with... How about Ekaterina Kurakova from Poland? Ekaterina has been struggling as a single skater for a while, and I just think that this would be a breath of fresh air to her, career. I think she's very artistic, and I think having a strong partner like Allison would be a real big benefit to her, and I think that Allison would be able to lift her up, and I just think there are some interesting kind of topics and ideas that they could do on the ice. What do you guys think? Okay, if this is no good, Japan needs a good ice dance team, so let's put Allison Reed with Rino Matsuke. I think Rino brings kind of the artistry that Allison does have as well, but I think Rino would kind of help lead that into her, and I think Rino would be able to make some beautiful movements across the ice. Okay, and if that doesn't work for you, let's put Caroline Green and Rino Matsuke together. I think that they are both very big artists. I think that Caroline is very strong and would be able to lift Rino up. I just think that they would create such beautiful lines across the ice, and I couldn't even envision what type of programs that the two of them together would come up with. So what do you think of this partnership? What are your ideas for some same-sex couples? Do you even think this should be allowed? If so, what should be the rules behind it? Thank you guys so much for listening to Skate to the Point Unfiltered Ice Chat. Over and out. This is Kelly Commentates.